Thank you, Tom, and appreciate all the help from Alliance of Regenerative Medicine. We're a publicly traded company, BSTG. We're a spin-out of Harvard Bioscience about 5 years ago. I'll cover four things: a little bit of our technology, combination cells on a scaffold, cell frame technology, but it's very interesting that the scaffold is a temporary drug delivery device, and then it's removed. So recent human case done at great proof of concept at Mayo Clinic. Our target population is in esophageal disease, and a particular pediatric congenital disorder where 1 out of every 3,000 to 4,000 babies are born with a gap between their upper and lower esophagus. You'll see how they're treated right now, and it's almost medieval surgery. We have a key development plan that we're shifting to a clinical stage where we're filing our IND into Q2, and we're a pretty interesting investment opportunity. I think we went public early. It's hard to run a preclinical company, but right now we're backed by very wealthy Chinese investors. It sounded good 2 years ago, a little bit complicated right now. But they really believe in our technology. Why? The incidence of esophageal cancer are tremendous, almost like 20 times that into the US and the Asian population, and they want to see this technology move to China, so it's a very organized way around this. We're emerging from stealth mode and looking to be able to uplist to NASDAQ. Here's the problem. If you have a defect into your esophagus and it has to be surgically removed, right now they do a two-body procedure. They go into the peritoneum, they staple your stomach from a bagpipe to a tube. It's cranked up into your chest. God did not make your stomach to belong into the chest. Or they take your colon and bring that up. It's nice to talk about the colon right before the break, but these are the procedures that they have. The 5-year survival on esophageal cancer, 5 years, give me a number. What is that? Less than 10%. It's not 17,000 incidents of esophageal cancer in the US and 15,000 deaths. It's a horrible disease on the pediatric. This is our technology, what we do. So we take a biopsy of adipose tissue. We isolate and expand the mesenchymal stem cells, non-manipulated. They're highly characterized. They're seated onto a polymeric scaffold. We have 50 years of knowledge within bioreactors. They're seated onto that, characterized, sewn in, and then that triggers a regenerative response. It is a living tube. Cytokines, growth factors, extracellular matrices, all laid down, and then the scaffold is removed. The regenerated portion is 2 times stronger than the native esophagus. So very interesting. We've done 50 large animals. If you ever worked with large animals, Yucatan mini pigs, that's an awful lot of preclinical work. The scaffold at a microscopic level looks like an extracellular matrix, but now look at it on the green on the bottom where you can see now the way the cells in an immune privileged way cover this over. Our technology, you can see it's sewn in end to end. It triggers that response, and then the polyurethane or temporary cell delivery device is removed. It continues to remodel, and now we've had proof of concept, obviously, into the animals and to the humans. So think about that little segment over about 6 centimeters. There's nothing there. And then you can see the progression at 30 days, at 90 days, and then animals out almost for 2 years. It regenerates. And so I know that cell therapy, because I ran Genzyme's biosurgery piece with an Epicel and Carticel and launched into those areas. It's heavy lifting, but I thank all the gene therapy people that have made autologous things a little bit more sexy right now. But this is what we see in a very good way. It's a platform technology that we're focusing on the esophagus right now, but we have orphan designation into the trachea and into the bronchus. If you have central lung cancer, they have to take out the tumor, but if it has not metastasized, they need to, as someone told me, throw away the lung. You have to throw away, the patient loses 50% of their respiratory capacity. And so now we have proof of concept in animal studies into all three of these areas. We're guided by a very strong scientific advisory board. Arguably the father of tissue engineering in the U.S. is Dr. Jay Vacanti at Mass General. And then at University of Pittsburgh, Steve Badalak, a PhD, MD veterinarian. He is focused on the esophagus and on host response. And then two other pediatric surgeons in chief are guiding us along the way. So that's the congenital abnormality. This is why we exist. We really believe that there is a better way to be able to treat these patients in terms of these pull-ups and these other complicated surgeries that are done for children. Essentially, as a former Genzyme guy, we have a little bit of a rare disease business model, and that's how we're focused. So last slide. We're filing our IND into esophageal disease into Q2. We're following that up with pediatric atresia. We have human proof of concept. We've run the company for the last 2 years through just a series of private placements. Essentially, we're a private company with a public ticker. But right now, we will be looking to uplist. We will be looking to continue to raise money, and we look forward to any investment discussions along the way here. So we're driven by, like many companies and so many that are here, the real patient unmet need, and that's why we're focused. So, Tom, happy to have a dialogue here, sir.
Is this on? Or should I just yell? Okay. Well, thank you. As I say, it's different than what most of us think about, so I'm glad to take audience questions if people want to raise their hand. I guess to set this, I don't.
I think it's on, Tom.
Is it on? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So, can you set the stage? It seems to me like you're building your scaffolds from polymers. Where do you stand? People attempt to use animals. They would try to remove the retroviruses. I assume the cadaveric world has worked here. So just give us a sense of how those fields currently are interacting.
So why our company, why Biostage has had so much, if you will, visibility into the field. We had bioreactors to 150 top researchers around the world. Some of those researchers are doing decellularizing and then recellularizing and other things along the way. The other areas like egenesis are trying to then, change things within, transgen. People have been talking about, I've been in the field for over 30 years. This discussion has been around. I mean, Genzyme transgenics, I chatted with someone earlier today around that. But our stuff on the scaffold, we have a certain treatment onto that scaffold that allows that cell adhesion, but now that cell adhesion then comes off in the body, allows those cells and removes the scaffold. So that is a little bit of our twist that we have, because now as a child grows, that regenerated portion grows both circumferentially and longitudinally. So that's the little interesting piece. It is a delivery device and not a permanent implant.
Right, which I think a lot of the cadaveric, like an ACL, is also a scaffold, isn't it?
Yeah, and so there's so many tubes that we're looking at, but when you're a small firm and you're limited in money, you kind of stay real focused. And so the two into the esophagus, the trachea and the bronchus, that's our real focus, Tom, and then the pediatric area of atresia.
And so as we think about this field unfolding, where is your IP? What do you protect? How was the company? Was it started around some key insight?
Yeah, thanks. And as we spun out, right, we put in a lot of IP around this, and we've gained IP around, if you will, some of the smaller pieces, the bioreactor, the scaffold. The cells are mesenchymal stem cells, so that's fairly straightforward. But we have now just advanced our IP on that uniqueness of a removable scaffold in a tubular organ, delivered surgically or non-surgically. So we're working with device companies and talking to them about a delivery system where they do endomucosal resections and other areas. So we see a lot of applications as this continues to evolve.
Okay, and presumably these patients are in pretty tough shape. Talk a little bit about manufacturing from start to finish. How long would it take, and do you have to pick your indications based on a window, a child or a recipient might have to adhere to?
See, our first indication is a repair of a repair. So that's where we're going into. You know, right now, as you know, the FDA is very cautious around anything into pediatrics. We have a top first-in-human regulatory firm that's working with us right now. So we are entertaining in terms of going from autologous to allogeneic in those areas, but you don't want to fool with something that's working right now into its trial. And we see the advancements as you go. Everyone wants to give me guidance on second and third generation. And my pig-headed stubbornness is staying right there what we're doing, because that's what you need to do, the filing of that first IND.
And just from how long does this process take? I mean, it's fairly complicated. And
yeah, it's straightforward, you know, in a certain way. A biopsy going, we all done under GLP conditions that we have. We use University of Texas as an outsourced area, and we have backup from a manufacturing of the cells, the isolation expansion. We have a totally seeded or closed system to be able to now take those cells and incubate that onto the scaffold, all developed by our company. And we make electrospinning, that's what shows those fibers. We do all of it within our clean room. So we have already the full manufacturing under GLP conditions on cells and a scaffold totally in place for our clinical trials.
Okay, and so could this be a technology that serves 3,000 people? Is it going to be smaller than that?
Yeah, I think, you know,
how hands-on really is it now, and where could it get to?
You know, I think that
okay.
The service of the folks, you know, and so we see the opportunity in terms of the number of esophageal cases, talking to some of our, you know, our KOLs over time, and then different deliveries. You could serve 50% of the esophageal market, and we see again the bronchus and trachea. So these are large markets, and it is amazing though too how of an issue this is into China. And it's not just the number of people, it's the incidence of esophageal disease. And so we see very large markets worldwide.
Right. And then, again, as we start to think about how we could model a business here, how hands-on is it? What could cost of goods sold be? I mean, I know it's a little early, but just your thoughts on...
Yeah, I think we have the process down. I think, you know, cost of goods will not be an issue here at all in terms of what we're looking at. Obviously, with volume, we'll see things go down. But for me, the focus is just getting into humans, work it through that. Our chief scientific officer was one of the founding scientists of Alexion, and so he has a tremendous, you know, Bill Fodor, you know, out of Yale, Connecticut, molecular geneticist, great background into this. So we believe that we have the right ingredients to move it forward. You mentioned that, you know, Humacyte and Laura Nicholson here, and so we have one of her former scientists at our, you know, into our cell biology lab. So we have, for a small team, and you can see even by our advisors, we have some top people working with us because we're advancing the science and the medicine right now, as you know, not easy to do at times.
I think people forget Alexion started in this field.
Yes, Alexion was in this field, and Bill ran the whole area.
Last question, you're about to get into the clinic. What's the trial going to look like? When do you go to the FDA and kind of get buy-in, size?
Yeah, the nice thing
is it all going to be in the U.S., one site?
Yeah,
many
thanks.
Sites? Just your thoughts.
5 sites, U.S., you know, very focused. Going to be the PI, Dr. Dennis Weigel, out of Mayo Clinic, MD Anderson, Mass General, University of Michigan, that does tremendous esophageal work. So top centers working with us right here. Small 5, 10-person trial.
And how many sites do the current surgery? And is that the expectation, that it would be that skill level?
You know,
then use your product?
If you saw the surgery of pulling up a stomach or the inner position, those are 10 to 12-hour 2-body and sometimes 3-body procedures. Our procedure takes less than an hour. It's like sewing in a vascular graft in an end-to-end anastomosis. I think the surgeons know how to do that quite well. So the uptick and making their life better. They don't like, when a surgeon has 10% of their practice in esophageal area, it's 80% of their problems. It's a very difficult area. And so we believe we have overused word, a disruptive way into what we're doing, which is totally different how patients are treated now. But by other companies that have moved this, the cells of your own, your immune privilege going in, the device is coming out that's delivered. It has the architecture, just like Miro Matrix was talking about earlier, into their work providing that key environment, permissive environment for regeneration. We've been in this for a while, and we've been slogging it forward, but we're in a very good place as we look to our value inflections into this year.
All right, fantastic. Well, thanks everybody, and Jim, thanks for the update.
Thank you, Tom.
You'll be glad to ask questions in the